Hey everyone, Scott here from Cathedral Minis. I figured I would have a little chat about some of our upcoming games that Shadow and I are going to be playing. We are getting back into 40k, and I've been playing since 2nd edition came out. So believe it or not, a lot of my dreadnoughts for my orcs were the old cardboard cutouts. So now that everything has to change from the 25mm bases up to the 32s, rather than rebasing, I'm just going to put a dab of white glue on and go from there. That way, if things happen to change back around, or if I wish to play the 30k, the Horus Heresy, I can still use them. But for one of our first starting games, Shadow and I played 1,000-point game, and it went fairly well. I have fallen in love with the Bad Moons, even back before when you could pick your clans and stay with them, and it was more of a themed army. So I always loved the thoughts of the more DACA, and the more shots you can put out, the less chances the enemy can actually get to combat with you. So most of the boys that I made up at the time are the old shooter boys. So yeah, they do fairly well. And now with the new more DACA rule that I read up on, where all of the sixes are exploding sixes sustain hits too. So a unit of 20 shooter boys, even if you don't get all of them in the rapid fire range, that's still, you always add in your 2 rockets. You got to have the rockets in, and then one without the knob, because the knob usually sticks with a slugga is what I always go with. That's still 17 shots, so it's 34 shots and exploding sixes. That's not too shabby. I'll take those chances. And even the rockets, any rocket that hits on a 6, that becomes an exploding 6, and you get 2 more hits with the rockets. And that usually ruins a Terminator's day, as Shadow found out in the test game that we ran. I had a unit of these shooter boys that I have, the Yeller Jackets, and unloaded with the 2 rockets, and I got lucky, I can honestly say, because I had D3 shots apiece. So I got 2 D3 shots and ended up getting 6 shots and shot his 10-man unit of Terminators, which gave me another one apiece. And I rolled 4 sixes, so that really ruined his day. I ended up out of the 10-man squad, and just the salvo from the boys with the rocket launchers, I killed 4 Terminators. So I can't really complain about that. And then all the rest of them ended up killing, let's see, I think I killed 1 more Terminator and put a wound on another just with the plain shooter boys. So all in all, that worked out quite well for me. But for my main lists, normally what I run is a big mech. In fact, I just about finished him off. I got a little more touch-up to do on the base. So I got a nice big mech with a shock attack gun. And they'll usually run 2 units of shooter boys. And then a unit of Ludas. Love my Ludas. I've got, in fact, from the old school version, I have enough for 3 units of 15. But here's some of these guys here. They're all painted and ready to go. I just got to put them on the bigger bases to make everything legal. So most of the bases that both Shadow and I are using we picked up from Proxy Models. He's got some pretty nice bases for quite cheap. I think we end up getting 30 bases, I believe, for $5. That's not too bad. So, yeah, all I'm doing is just flipping them around so I can makes it a little easier to pop them off at a later date if I need to. But so anyway, I will run a big mech and then 2 units of Shoot-A-Boys, and in each unit I will have a Weird Boy and a Pain Boy to give them the jump to get them wherever I need to go. And the Pain Boy giving them a 5-up feel no pain is pretty nice. So, and then I will have a unit of Flashkits, a unit of Ludas, a unit of Defcoptas, which I nicknamed them the Killer Bees. And then I'm still torn between a Shock Jump Dragsta and the Custom Boosta Blasta. They both have a lot of good uses, especially with the Shock Jumps custom shock rifle, with the Grot being able to be the one who's shooting it, so his ballistic skills a lot better. But I am toying with the idea of getting a set of mech guns too. But I don't know if anybody's got thoughts on the mech guns. Please feel free to let us know, because I honestly would like to know how everybody thinks they work, fellow Orc players. And I also have besides the Orcs, I have a Death Guard army that I have been playing since 3rd edition came out. So they are the actual small little Death Guard guys with the spiky pith helms and the static poses. So got a pile of them, but I have upgraded to some of the larger models now. And I found a set of models that I really liked off of my mini factory that I picked up that I've 3D printed and are using them. So, and besides the Death Guard, I have got a World Eaters army, a Salamander army that I 3D printed, and then I've also just picked up some files for a Tyranid army. That's one that I've never played before, so I'm trying to figure out the best way of getting them figured out. My initial thoughts are a couple of like a Hive Tyrant and a couple other big nasties for leaders. Probably a Broodlord and a couple swarms of Gene Stealers. And then a lot of Gaunts. I like the idea of just a fast-moving infantry. And then I also like, I'll probably throw in a few of the, what are they called? It's the big shooters. They're cannon ones. So, but if anybody has any ideas on that, please let me know. So, but yeah, we will be getting 40K back in and trying to get everything set up for that to get back in the swing of things for 40K before 11th edition comes back out. But, and then all the rumblings we've also heard is they're bringing back Mordheim, possibly. Now, Mordheim is an awesome game. I love the fact that you can custom build any of your small war bands any which way you want. You don't have to spend $1,000 in order to field a viable army. At most you'll have 10 to 15 models, and you can play several games in an afternoon. We've played several of them where it is it's just a simple, can you be the first one to do like a breakthrough, or who can collect the most amount of treasures within 5 turns. I mean, you only get the 5 turns and that's it. So having fun little scrappy games like that, so the average game could only last us, in theory, maybe 45 minutes max. So yeah, you could get 3 or 4 games in an afternoon, or if you sit down for an all-day event, even more. So, yeah, if anybody has any tips or tricks for me for the Tyranids, I would love to hear about it. And I would also love to hear about what they think of the mech guns. I'm not too keen on the walkers, such as the Killicans or the Death Dreads. I've used them in the past, but they were always underwhelming. But then again, I was always going up against the guys who would run the Space Marine Army back in 8th edition and 9th edition, and they would sit there and turtle up, and I'd be shot off the board before I could even do anything. So that kind of really left a sour taste in my mouth, and I didn't even bother playing. I kind of packed them all up within and waited until about 10th edition came around. So, but anyway, we will continue to try and keep getting some content out and some battle reports for both Old World and 40K. Please continue to like, subscribe, and let all your friends know. Thanks.